Welcome to MTG Open Mic. We're going to talk about how this channel predicted the crisis that's going on right now with Hasbro and Magic the Gathering over a year ago in a song that I wrote and made into the smash hit music video TAINT. So let's check it out. When I wrote TAINT, Wizards of the Coast was up to a bunch of its shenanigans, so I thought that I would go into a deep dive because I realized from feedback that I got from my peers that what I'm saying in my sketches and my songs is not always readily apparent. So without question, we're just going to go through the song line by line, and I'll let you know what I was thinking when I wrote it. The first line of the song is, "The cabal coffers overflowing from all the greed." Cabal Coffers is a magic card. Greed is also a magic card. Cabal in the English language is a secret, political clique or faction. And Cabal, also in the lore of Magic the Gathering, is on Dominaria, which was comprised of clerics and wizards, and they worshipped money and profit. And a coffer is a small box or a treasure chest used to hold valuable goods. So cabal coffers overflowing means that, money grubbing, they're just still collecting all the money from all the greed, even though they have nowhere to put it. And then the second line sort of just follows that, which is the Icatian Money Changers still raising fees. So Icatian Money Changer is a magic card back from Fallen Empires, I believe. And Icatia is a town comprised of humans, eventually those towns got overrun. And the Ivory Tower's tallest before crumbling. So that's just, kind of speaks to, any empire or any kingdom, whether it's the Roman Empire, Byzantine Empire, whatever it is always at its strongest before it's not, right? So everything is great. And, in the Romans' case, they tried to take over too much territory too quickly. In Wizards of the Coast case, they tried to print too many sets too quickly and without nurturing the players that they have already. So Ivory Tower a lot of times is used as an analogy or a metaphor for Wizards of the Coast. So as a structure, I thought it was a nice metaphor. Also, Ivory Tower is a magic card. And then the next line is necropolis in a sunken city. So necropolis is a graveyard of sorts, but not just any type of graveyard. It's a very fancy graveyard with ornate tombs, very valuable things may be put into these tombs. So even in death, they are still clinging on to their greed in a sunken city. And so the Ivory Tower at this point, again, Wizards of the Coast, has crumbled and has become a graveyard underwater, a forgotten about realm, akin to Atlantis, if you will. Also, kind of a small note here, crumbling necropolis is also a magic card, but I couldn't fit it quite, so we have Ivory Tower's tallest before crumbling, and then the next line picks up with necropolis in a sunken city. So Ivory Tower, crumbling necropolis, and sunken city are all magic cards. The Price of Progress, also the name of a magic card, which so brings us to the next line. The price of progress moving the wrong way. And that's pretty self-explanatory. So I do say this line twice because I think it is a little more self-explanatory in the song, where they just keep raising prices and calling it progress. They keep increasing their profits and calling it progress. And I don't see those as the same thing. Then the last line of the first verse is, if they play with Final Fortune, eventually they'll lose the game. So kind of, just from the English language, Final Fortune maybe speaks to, that one big run that you grab as much as you can without worrying about the consequences of what that might entail. In the game of Magic, Final Fortune is also a magic card, and the card allows the player to take an extra turn, but at the end of that extra turn, they lose the game. So if you are playing with Final Fortune in your deck, and you play it X amount of times, some number of those times you're going to lose the game. So it's just saying, if you are going to make money grabs, eventually it's going to bite you in the ass. And then we'll do the chorus here, which is, of course, hit them with our power taint. So before we get into the chorus, let's just read Power Taint. It is an enchantment from Urza's Saga that costs a blue and 1. And it says, during the upkeep of enchanted enchantments controller, that player pays 2 or loses 2 life. So in the game of Magic, the upkeep is a phase of the turn where you have to pay costs to prevent something from happening or to make something happen. And in this case, the controller, so you play this on your opponent, they have to then pay 2 during their upkeep. If they do not, they lose 2 life, which in the game of Magic is, not that big of a deal. So on its own, this card is very bad. Nobody's going to put this in their deck, unless it's as a joke. But the card name is Power Taint. So I see Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro as the people in power, and I'm calling for Taint of the Power. So keeping that in mind, let's get into the chorus. The first line is, hit 'em with our power taint. So let's get after it. Let's taint that power. Let's cast our power taint on, big business or what have you. And then the second line of the chorus is, we won't be paying their upkeep. So, for instance, it's their responsibility to upkeep the game, and we are not going to be paying it. And if we don't pay it, then they're going to take damage. So, million strong, we won't be beat. And that just speaks to, we that have very little power are only effective in great numbers. And then I just use a Magic the Gathering sort of metaphor, like kobolds protecting Kher Keep. So if you see Kher Keep as the game of Magic the Gathering that we know and love, and kobolds, this is their home that they've been, they will do anything to protect. The kobolds of Kher Keep is in the game of Magic. It costs 0 and it is a 0/1. So by itself, it does absolutely nothing. But in overwhelming numbers, amazing things can get accomplished. So that's the idea, is that if many little effects are brought together, we can affect big change in the way that we want to protect the game that we love by tainting the power with the power taint. So that's the chorus. Then we go into the second verse, which states, if they were robbers of the rich, it would be one thing. So robbers of the rich is a Magic card, robber of the rich rather. So I'm just saying, if this was a Robin Hood type situation, I might feel a little differently about it, but it's not. They feel like they are with this a lot of exploitative behavior towards the player base, rather than behavior that benefits the growth and healthy future of the game. So if they were robbers of the rich, it would be one thing. We're angry mobs of peasants and will rally. So angry mob is a Magic card. Rally the peasants is a Magic card. And again, it's kind of just going back to the theme of the kobolds protecting the Kher Keep, where the many can, affect change. So we are the people without money who are asking, for these things. That we're the angry mobs. We need to rally the peasants. We are the kobolds of Kher Keep. And then the next line is sort of speaking directly to Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, and it says, a little moderation shows giant strength. Moderation is a Magic card. Giant strength is a Magic card. But, you've heard that phrase, countless times, I'm sure, everything's good in moderation. So moderation doesn't necessarily mean weakness. And I think that, you know, for instance, if they reduced their release schedule a little bit, gave people some time to enjoy the cards that came out, gave people a reason to be playing with the cards to come out, you know, instead of creating FOMO at every possible turn. I think that shows strength in the game. So what they are looking for is, you know, strength in their profit numbers. And I think it's sort of, you know, cart before the horse fallacy. So sort of saying, hey, it maybe rein it in a little bit and maybe you'll see some benefit from that. And then the last line of the first half of the second verse is, these debts of loyalty stealing are fog banks. So in the game of Magic, Debt of Loyalty is a card and Fog Bank is a card. Debt of Loyalty can take control of target creature that has been destroyed this turn. So essentially it's saying all of these folks that are, you know, so in love with the game of Magic, or maybe blind or don't care about, you know, some of these other things, these are the debts of loyalty. So we feel, you know, and even I feel I'm making videos about Magic. Like, I've been playing Magic since I was 10 years old. So there is some level of loyalty there. So let's call it a debt. My debt of loyalty sometimes steals my Fog Bank. So Real Bank, Fog Bank, Debt of Loyalty can steal a creature. Fog Bank in the game is a creature, but also just sort of crap that can hurt your pocketbook if you're trying to keep up with this stuff because you feel some sense of loyalty to this company and to this game, beyond just having fun playing with some cards every now and then. Then the next line is, the promise of power, it's a lie. Promise of power is a Magic card, obviously, and pretty self-explanatory, you know, promising, ooh, you could get this, you could get this, you could get this, but at the end of the day, none of it's really special anymore. And, you know, this was before they actually reprinted the new fake power that has come out in the 30th anniversary boosters. So, because Tibalt will flip on you every time. So Tibalt, God of Lies, is a Magic card. It is actually a flip card, so it has two sides to it, and when you flip it over, it is Tibalt Cosmic Imposter. Both sides of the card represent some form of deception, which, you know, is representative in this case of Wizards of the Coast and, you know, their two-faced nature, if you will. And then we come back and hit them hard with the if the price of progress moving the wrong way, and if they fuck with Final Fortune, eventually they'll lose the game, or market share at the very least. Then we come back with another chorus, hit them with our power taint. We won't be paying their upkeep. Million strong, we won't be beat like kobolds. Protecting Kher Keep. And then we got the big breakdown that's going on, and then we have Taint being chanted in the background. And then the final chorus, there's a background vocal that comes in. It's a little bit difficult to understand because there's so much going on in the song. I got a little carried away. But at the end of the song, there's one line that says, one more trigger on the stack and we're gonna snap. So in Magic, the stack is what you use to resolve every ability that is trying to be cast, and it's a way to organize what gets resolved first. And and anything that goes on to the stack, you know, it could be, a lot of it can be called a trigger. And if there's one more trigger on the stack, we're going to snap. Obviously, we're going to lose it. We're going to become the angry mob. We're going to rally the peasants. We're going to do all the things we've been talking about in this song. And snap is also a card. So then that's pretty much it. So I wrote this song, Power Taint, over a year ago, and yeah, it has aged pretty well. Almost like I was a time traveler from the future.
Head on with our power taint. We won't be paying their upkeep. No. Millions strong, we won't be beaten. Like kobolds protecting Kher Keep. Head on with our power taint. We won't be paying their upkeep. Millions strong, we won't be beaten. Like kobolds protecting Kher Keep.
And that is the story of Power Taint. I wrote it over a year ago, and you can find the music video on my YouTube channel, MTG Open Mic. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to make, and you'll see, you know, other things that speak to the themes that are in there. So when you have a visual to go along, you still get the idea of what's going on, even if you're not, you know, taking in every tiny bit of minutia that is embedded into each of those lines of lyrics. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a comment. Love to know what you think of the song. If you've watched it, I'll probably just put it here at the end also for your listening pleasure. You can also find it on Spotify. Traswidden is my MTG TCG artist handle. So you can find that, and the links are in the description for that as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here, and Power Taint.